Bible verse number 4, baby. We got a nice little bit of momentum built up tonight, and so I've knocked out, I've already knocked out 2, going on 3 tonight in, like 15 minutes, whereas it took me, 7.5 months to do that first one. And so let's dive right in, man. Chapter 4 now. I want to drop a couple of nuggets on you guys that really spoke to me, and maybe my prayer is that through God, they might speak to you guys too. So the first one, chapter 4, and I'm just get ready, man, because this one really knocked me on my keister, in the spirit of taming the tongue. So 4 verses 2 and 3. You desire, but you do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have, because you do not ask God. So I guess that's really just verse 2. And that's really all we need, because the one word in there that I want to focus on is covet. So this is a word that you actually don't hear very often in today's society, and it's used a few times in the Bible. It's in the 10 Commandments. And so to covet something is to want something so badly that it takes on just this envious nature all its own. And the fact that James uses that word here denotes a seriousness to this problem that might, dwarf many other problems. And what James is basically getting at here is he's basically saying, now keep in mind, this is like, the first century, or, whenever James wrote James. I'm actually not sure. I should probably look that up. But whenever James wrote, his book, it was a long, long time ago. And he was challenging the people of that day because they were too materialistic. Can you even process that? Like, I can't. 2018, I'm like, this is materialism at its peak. And is it worse now than it was then? Maybe. But, I think a lot of times we just think that, things were so different back in the day. And they really weren't, man. People are people. And we are just littered with sin. And so people back in, year 18, forget about 2018, but 18, were struggling with the same things that we struggle with. And so James is basically saying that it's our discontentment, it's our dissatisfaction with stuff that ultimately leads to our just feeling empty, just never feeling satisfied, because we have the wrong ultimate goal in mind. And then if you go to John, well, actually, no, let's go to verse 3 now, because I guess this is kind of important. So James 4:3, when you ask, you do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. So again, he's speaking to the materialism. But then if we actually go to a cross-reference, which I got it up here, it's John 14:13. And I will do, this is Jesus talking, and I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. So basically, Jesus will answer our prayers. He will answer the prayers in our hearts if they align with God's plan for our lives. And I don't know what God's plan is for my life. I don't know what God's plan is for your life. You probably don't know what God's plan is for your life. But I think we can all be pretty sure it's not to get a bunch of stuff. And so if that's what our hearts are focused on, God's not going to bless that motive. That's what James is saying here. That's what John is saying there. And so that really spoke to me. Maybe it speaks to you guys too. And then if we go down to 4:6, but he gives us more grace. That is why Scripture says, God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. And I got a lot from the Moo commentary on this, and I'll just give you guys the highlights here in 60 seconds, because I've actually done a good job keeping these guys reasonably short, 2 and 3, so I want to do the same thing here. People who are proud are met with resistance from God. People who are humble are met with grace. And it really is that simple. Now, I'm telling you guys right now, and if you guys have listened to my podcasts or watched some of my other videos, you guys know that I struggle with performance as an idol. I've talked about this. I think I did a podcast on the circular nature of the gospel, and I talked about this a little bit then, and I'll probably do some dedicated episodes about this very thing when the time is right, and I'm just kind of ready to kind of have that open discussion with you guys. So this is really real for me, man. This is really real for me because I take a lot of pride in my abilities. I take a lot of pride in my skills. I take a lot of pride in the things that I'm good at. And you know what? You probably do too. You probably do too. And so when I read this, it challenges me. It challenges me maybe more so than many other verses in Scripture, if I'm just being real. And the thing that I want to remember here, the thing that I need to remember, and I want to motivate you guys to think about, is something I got from reading the Moo commentary and just all this stuff. And it's just this, man. You can feel good about doing a good job. You can feel good about doing your best. And you can feel good about accomplishments and achievements. But you've just got to remember the source. You've just got to remember that all your talents and all your skills, you didn't work for any of it. You may think you did. I know I thought I did for many, many years. But who gave me whatever talents I have? I didn't earn them, right? I didn't do something to get these. I was literally born with these. Well, who gave them to me? God gave them to me. And if I can remember that, and if you guys can remember that, it can start to shape your entire outlook on how you view your performance. And the crazy thing about it is it actually leads to a lot of freedom. A tremendous amount of freedom, which I am just recently starting to realize. That when you realize this, I now feel free to do my best and not feel bad about it. Because I know where it came from, and I know who gets all the thanks and all the gratitude in the end. So we'll see you guys for the final burst of the James study.